Hello friends, today we start the second lecture of this thermodynamic topic. In this topic, first of all we study the condition of spontaneity. What are the conditions? What are the different conditions for the spontaneous reaction? The following are the conditions for the spontaneity and equilibrium. The first condition is that there are various conditions, there are different conditions, there are three conditions for the spontaneous reaction. The first condition is that the spontaneous changes is unidirectional or irreversible. If the spontaneous change is unidirectional or irreversible, no work has to be done. No work. There are so many examples for the spontaneous change. In our universe, there are earthquake or tsunami or lightning in the sky. These are the examples of the spontaneous change. These spontaneous changes are the unidirectional. In such reactions, no work has to be done. There is no work has to be done. It occurs by itself. On the other hand, a reversible change is bidirectional. If the reaction is reversible, the reaction is forward direction or reverse direction, then for such a reversible change, the work has to be done. Means for the reversible change, the work has to be done. The second condition is that there is no time factor for the spontaneous change. If the reaction is spontaneous change, no time is dependent. Means spontaneous change does not depend on the time factor. Time does not affect the spontaneous change. It may occur rapidly or very slowly. There are so many examples for the rapid reaction, tsunami, earthquake or lightning in the sky. These are the example of this rapid reaction or slow reaction, means radioactive reaction. There are so many reactions which are occurring in our nature. These radioactive reactions are very slowly. Means there is no time factor effect on the spontaneous change. If the reaction is spontaneous change, the time does not affect on this reaction. The third condition is that the conditions in terms of Gibbs free energy, means the spontaneous reactions we can explain on the basis of this Gibbs free energy. We know that as per the definition of free energy, G is equal to H minus Ts. G is the Gibbs free energy, H is the total heat content of the system, T is the temperature, and S is the entropy. Means this is the entropy factor, this is the total heat content of the system, and this is the free energy. G is equal to H minus Ts. The change in Gibbs free energy is given by delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. This is the change in Gibbs free energy, change in total heat content of the system, and this is the entropy factor. T into delta S is nothing but the change in entropy factor. The next one. The equations, these equations is made up of two terms. Means that equation means this is the equation delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. This equation has a two term. One is total heat content of the system and second is entropy term. Total Gibbs free energy, total Gibbs free energy, total free energy of the system always remain constant. This total energy contains two parts. One is total heat content of the system, second is entropy factor. Means energy term delta means this equation is made up of two terms. One is entropy term, energy term, and second is entropy term. The spontaneous change is always accompanied by increase in entropy. Means if this factor is increases, entropy is increases, total heat content of the system decreases, because this free energy always remains constant, and therefore one of the factor is increases, this factor is decreases. If this entropy is increases, total heat content of the decreases, that is free energy decreases. Means what happens? the spontaneous change is always accompanied by increasing entropy, that is decreasing enthalpy or free energy. Enthalpy also decreases and free energy also decreases. That is delta S would be positive, that is delta H would be negative. Delta H, this factor is negative, and therefore as this factor is negative, free energy is also negative. Means for this spontaneous change, free energy decreases. Hence T delta S is equal to delta H minus delta G. Here we take this term on the LHS side and delta G on the RHS side, and therefore this equation comes out to be T delta S is equal to delta H minus delta G. This is the equation. With the help of this equation, we can explain whether the reaction is spontaneous or non-spontaneous. Now here we explain the variation of work function. Variation of work function, that A is the work function, or it is called Helmholtz free energy. Variation of work function or Helmholtz free energy with pressure, volume and temperature. Here we know that the work function is given by, or Helmholtz free energy is given by, A is equal to E minus Ts. E is the internal energy, Ts is the entropy term. Now we differentiate this equation. On differentiating partially this equation, we get dA is equal to dE minus TdS. Here, first of all, we temperature maintain as a constant and we differentiate this S as a dS. In next term, we maintain S as a constant and we differentiate temperature, that is dT. And therefore, this equation on differentiations we get dA is equal to dE minus TdS minus SdT. But from the first law, we know the first law, energy neither created nor destroyed. It is only converted from one form to another. Means whatever the energy absorbed here, from the first law, dQ is equal to dE plus PdV. Any system absorb dQ amount of energy. This dQ amount of energy can be utilized for two purposes. The first purpose is that its internal energy increases, and second purpose to do some more. And therefore, from the first law of thermodynamics, dQ is equal to dE plus PdV. Here, whatever the amount of energy absorbed, this absorbed energy utilized for two purposes. The first purpose to increase its internal energy, and second purpose to do some work. And therefore, PdV is nothing but the some work. And therefore, we also know that dQ is equal to TdS. dQ is equal to TdS because this ds entropy change ds is equal to dQ reversible upon T. dQ reversible upon T, and therefore dQ reversible is equal to T into dS. Means ds entropy change is equal to heat exchange reversibly at particular temperature. The heat exchange reversibly at particular temperature we call as entropy change dS, and therefore this dQ is equal to TdS. Therefore this dQ is equal to TdS. This TdS is equal to dE plus PdV. We can put in this value. This TdS is equal to dE plus PdV in the equation number 1, and therefore equation number 1 comes out to be dA is equal to dE. Instead of this TdS, we can put up dE plus PdV, and therefore minus dE minus PdV minus SdT. Here dE cancel, and therefore dA is equal to minus PdV minus SdT, and therefore dA is equal to minus PdV minus SdT. This is the equation number 2. Next one. Now we can find out this equation at two conditions. The first condition is that here we maintain temperature as a constant. If we maintain the temperature of the system constant, then the derivative of this T is equal to 0. And therefore from equation number 2, the equation comes out to be dAT is equal to minus PdV at constant temperature, and therefore dA upon dV is equal to minus P. Means here at constant temperature, Helmholtz free energy changes with volume dA upon dV. This expression shows that the change in Helmholtz free energy or change in work function at volume is nearly equal to minus P. This is the first condition, by keeping temperature at a constant. The second condition, by keeping volume constant. If we maintain volume as a constant, then this differentiation, that is dV is equal to 0, and therefore equation 2 comes out to be dA is equal to dA, change in Helmholtz free energy at constant volume is equal to minus S dt into P, and therefore dA upon dt at constant volume is equal to minus S. Means change in Helmholtz free energy with change in temperature, dA upon dt is nothing but the ratio of change in Helmholtz free energy with change in temperature is equal to minus S. Here we get the value of entropy. This is nothing but the change in Helmholtz free energy at a constant volume. Variation of Gibbs free energy with temperature and pressure. Now we here explain the effect of temperature and pressure on Gibbs free energy. Initially we study the effect of temperature, pressure and volume on Helmholtz free energy. Now this is Gibbs free energy. We know the Gibbs free energy is given by G is equal to H minus TL. G is the Gibbs free energy. H is total heat content of the system, and this total heat content of the system is nothing but H is equal to E plus PV, and therefore G is equal to H minus TL. We can put up the value of H is equal to E minus PV, E plus PV, and therefore this equation comes out to be G is equal to E plus PV. Instead of H we write here E plus PV minus TL. Now we differentiate this equation. On differentiation, equation comes out to be dG is equal to dE plus PdV. Here P is a constant. We differentiate with respect to volume. In next time we put volume as a constant and we differentiate pressure, and therefore it comes out to be V into dP minus T into dS minus S into dt. This is equation number 1. But we know that from the first law of thermodynamics, energy neither created nor destroyed, it is only converted from one form to another, and therefore dq is equal to dE plus pdV. We can put up these values. The value of dq is equal to dE plus pdV, or dq is equal to tdS, because here ds is equal to dq reversible upon dt, and therefore dq is equal to tdS, and therefore tdS is equal to dE plus pdV. We can put up this value tdS. Instead of tdS we can put up dE plus pdV in this equation number 1, and therefore equation number comes out to be dG is equal to dE plus pdV plus VdP. Instead of tdS we can put up dE plus pdV, and therefore this is minus dE minus pdV and minus S dt. Here this dE cancel out, pdV cancel out, and therefore dG is equal to VdP minus S dt. This equation give us in free energy change. These equations give us the free energy change with changes with pressure and temperature. Now, if we maintain the temperature as a constant, then derivative of this temperature, that is dt is equal to 0, and therefore equation number 2 comes out to be dG is equal to VdP, or dG upon dP at constant temperature is equal to V. that is the gift free energy, change in gift free energy with change in pressure is equal to V at constant temperature. This is the first condition. Second condition, if pressure is kept constant, then derivative of this dP is equal to 0, and therefore equation 2 comes out to be dG is equal to minus S dt, or dG upon dt is equal to minus, that is change in gift free energy with respect to change in temperature at constant pressure is equal to minus S, that is dG upon dP. This is the variation of gift free energy with pressure at constant temperature, and this is the variation of gift free energy with temperature at constant pressure. In this way, here we explain the variation of gift free energy with respect to temperature and pressure. Then next one. Now we explain here the most important equation, that is Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. This is the Gibbs-Helmholtz equation, or this equation we also called the effect of temperature on free energy. What is the effect of temperature on free energy? That we can study, and on the basis of this we derive here the equation. That equation we call as Gibbs-Helmholtz equations. Now, according to definition of Gibbs free energy, the free energy is given by G is equal to H minus T. Here G is the Gibbs free energy, H is the total heat content of the system, and this is entropy. That is G is equal to H minus T. H minus T. Here we can put up the value of H is equal to E plus P, and therefore G is equal to E plus PV minus PS. We differentiate these equations partially, and therefore on differentiating these equations we get dG is equal to dE plus PdV. We differentiate this P as a constant, and we differentiate this volume dV, that is PdV plus VdP minus TdS minus SdT. This is equation number 1. We differentiate these equations partially. But from the first law of thermodynamics, we know that dQ is equal to dE plus PdV, or dQ is equal to TdS, and therefore TdS is equal to dE plus PdV, and therefore we can put out the value of TdS. Value of TdS in this equation, the equation comes out to be dG is equal to dE plus PdV plus VdP minus D. Instead of TdS, we can put up dE plus PdV, and therefore minus dE minus PdV minus SdT, and therefore this dE is cancelled out, this dE is cancelled out, this PdV is cancelled, this PdV is cancelled, and therefore we get dG is equal to VdP minus SdT, and therefore dG is equal to VdP minus SdT. Next one. Now here we study the variation of free energy with temperature at constant pressure. Temperature at constant pressure. We know that dG is equal to minus SdT, or change in Gibbs free energy, change in Gibbs free energy with change in temperature at constant pressure is given by minus. This equation already derived earlier. This equation gives the variation of free energy with temperature. Variation of free energy with temperature. Change in Gibbs free energy with temperature. Means this equation gives the variation of free energy with temperature. Suppose the system undergo on reversible change from initial state to final state. Suppose this is the system. Suppose this is initial state. Let it be metal stainless crystals, and in that container there are N particles. Its initial volume is suppose V1, its temperature is suppose T1, its internal energy is suppose E1, and Gibbs free energy is suppose G1. Here, suppose the system undergo reversible change from initial state 1. Initial state 1. This is the first stage. Now, this system absorption energy, due to absorption of this energy, its volume is increased. Suppose, and therefore, this is the final state. This is the volume V2, its temperature is T2, internal energy V2 and gives free energy G2. This is the second stage. This is the initial state. This is the second stage. Now, suppose the system undergo a reversible change from initial state 1 to final state 2. This is the final state. This is the initial state. Let free energy, entropy and free energy, entropy of the initial state is G1 and S1 and final state G2 and S2. Then S1 is given as dG1 upon dt at constant pressure and S2 is given as dG2 upon dt at constant pressure, because S is equal to dG upon dt at constant pressure. Now here we consider any system that work from initial state to final state. Suppose this is initial state, this is final state, because this system absorbs some energy. As some energy is absorbed, it can expand. The volume is expanded from V1 to V2, and therefore it changes from initial state to final state. And therefore, its gives energy for initial state is G1, entropy is S1, and for final state gives energy G2 and entropy is S2. And therefore, S1 is equal to dG1 upon dt, and for final state S2 is equal to dG2 upon dt at constant pressure. Now here we find out change in entropy. Change in entropy. Delta S is equal to S2 minus S1. This is S2 dG2 upon dt at constant pressure, and this is S1 dG1 upon dt at constant pressure. And therefore, here we subtract G2 minus G1, ddt of G2 minus G1 at constant pressure, or delta S is equal to minus d ddt of delta T. For an isothermal process, the free energy changes always remain constant. For an isothermal process, isothermal means temperature remain constant. If the process is carried out at constant temperature, free energy changes always remain constant, and therefore delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta. This equation already known for us, and therefore delta G is equal to delta H minus T. Instead of delta F, this delta H is equal to minus ddt of delta G. We can put up here, and therefore this equation comes out to be delta G is equal to delta H minus T into delta H. We can put up this value, and therefore minus ddt of delta G upon delta T, and therefore delta H minus plus, and therefore delta H plus T into ddt of delta G. The above equation is known as Helmholtz equation. Means this equation is known as Helmholtz equations. Here delta E is the change in free energy, and delta F is nothing but change in entropy. Then next. Now here we study the application of Gibbs-Helmholtz equations. Here we study the Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. Now we can study the application of Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. There are two applications of this Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. The first application is the calculation of EMF of the reversible cell. There are so many cells we know, reversible cell, irreversible cell. Here we calculate the EMF, electromotive force for the reversible cell. We know that Gibbs-Helmholtz equation is useful for the calculation of EMF of the reversible cell. The decrease in free energy produced by the passage of n farads of electricity through the reversible cell is given by. Now what is? We know that delta G is equal to minus NMP, or minus delta G is equal to NMP. This equation we already know. Minus delta G is the change in free energy. Negative sign indicates that this change in free energy decreases. Whatever the free energy decreases, that decrease in free energy is converted to electrical energy, because n is the number of electrons lost or gained, F is the Faraday of electricity, and E is the EMF of the cell, and therefore NFE is nothing but the total quantity of electricity. This is the total quantity of electricity, but this total quantity of electricity produced by the loss of free energy. Here delta G is the change in free energy. Negative sign indicates that free energy decreases, and that decrease in free energy is converted to electrical energy. NFE is nothing but the electrical energy. This is nothing but the electrical energy. Here N stands for the number of electrons here are lost. E is the EMF of the reversible cell, and F is the pattern of electricity, and its value is nearly equal to 96500 Coulomb. Next one. This give Helmholtz equations. We know the give Helmholtz equations. Delta G is equal to delta H plus T into ddt of delta G upon delta T. We know that delta G is equal to minus NFE, and therefore we can put up the value of delta G is equal to minus NFE, and therefore this equation comes up to be minus NFE is equal to delta H plus T into d of, instead of delta G, minus NFE upon dt, and therefore minus NFE is equal to delta H minus NEFT, which is dE upon dt, and therefore here we divided throughout the equation by NF minus NF, and therefore this equation comes out to be E is equal to minus delta H upon NF plus T into dE upon dt. This equation is used for the calculation of EMF of the reversible cell. Means with the help of this equation we can calculate the EMF of the reversible cell. Then second application, this give Helmholtz equations can be used for the calculation of enthalpy and entropy change occurring in the isothermal process. Means in isothermal process, whatever the enthalpy and entropy changes, that enthalpy changes and entropy changes we can calculate by using the give Helmholtz equations. The give Helmholtz equation is delta G is equal to delta H plus T into ddt of delta G upon delta T. Here these second applications, give Helmholtz equations, can be used for the calculation of enthalpy and entropy change occurring in isothermal process. In this way, here we study the first application and second applications of the give Helmholtz equations. Thank you very much.